It took exactly 2 months for Spain to reach 10,000 cases a day again. The figure in itself is worrying, but it is even more if you look in perspective. On Wednesday of last week it was less than half. Our country is entering the dynamic that India entered in May and the United Kingdom in June. It is a bad dynamic, no matter how much we qualify it. It clearly indicates that the Delta variant is extremely contagious. The cumulative incidence at 14 days is placed in 117.17 cases per 100,000 inhabitants, but it is likely that next week we will be dangerously close to 150 or even cross this high-risk threshold. Why can we make this claim? Because we already widely overcome that incidence in the age group 12 to 29 years, touching 300 cases per 100,000 inhabitants. Although we continue to vaccinate at a good rate, that group still has a long way to go until it reaches sufficient immunity. Some autonomous communities, such as the Balearic Islands, have started a campaign to vaccinate young people, but it will still take at least a month to have visible results. Other communities are not even considering it. In Cantabria, for example, the incidence between 20 and 29 years of age exceeds 700 cases per 100,000 inhabitants. We are, therefore, before a very powerful enemy, probably more powerful than we thought, and will have to be fought with all our scientific weapons. The Indian strain is very contagious, but it does not escape the action of vaccines, or at least not RNA vaccines like Pfizer or Moderna. The incidence among those over 70 years of age, who in principle are all vaccinated with the 2 doses, less than 20 cases per 100,000 inhabitants. That, at a time when in Spain life is practically normal and the virus seems completely a thing of the past. It is always insisted that despite the spikes in cases, the hospitalized are few and even fewer the dead. This is true, and here we have repeated it many times, but COVID is not the typical disease that one wants to risk going through, because, overall, I am not going to end up in the ICU. Socially, in hospitable terms at least, this rebound, which points to violent, it will not be a quarter or a fifth of what the previous 3 did. Now, if this is so, I insist, it is exclusively due to the action of vaccines, and there are some 28 million citizens still to complete the protocol. In fact, if we look around us, we see what happens when the vaccination campaign does not work with enough agility or has been forced to resort to brands such as the Russian Sputnik or the Chinese Coronavac and Sinopharm. 3 laboratory vaccines that are still not approved by the European Medicines Agency. In no case can it be happily affirmed that they do not work. Without a doubt, they protect a large part of the population, but not as much as Pfizer, Moderna or AstraZeneca do. All in all, it looks like if there were no such affordable vaccines for developing countries, the world would be experiencing a real massacre right now.